The audience was instantly stunned. Just then, a colleague arrived, and the situation flipped. The opponent hurriedly retreated. Even though they desperately tried to intercept, they failed. What on earth could it be that made the opponent risk it all? Lao Kui and his team soon found the answer: a box of flour, posing a dilemma: sell it for wealth or face jail if caught. The two exhausted their thoughts and pondered deeply, but ultimately it was Lao Kui's piercing words that awakened them, leaving his colleague deeply touched and moved at that very moment. Not only did he agree to sell flour with Lao Kui, but also introduced a supplier, and the wheels of fate began to turn. The little car rolled out of the dock, landing in a mysterious village where the gangster Lao was showcasing his skills. He heated the flour with a lighter. Real flour emits a special smell, helping experts assess its purity. Lao was very pleased with the goods and offered to buy at half the market price, which was quite a deal in the industry. They instantly agreed, and, emboldened by drink, Lao Kui instinctively buttered up Lao, who was delighted. Under Lao Kui's relentless questioning, he revealed his real name, causing Lao Kui to freeze in shock and loudly demand a bow of respect. It turned out Lao was actually the nephew of his cousin, leaving his colleague confused. He rushed to urge Lao Kui to hush, but the more he pressed, the louder Lao Kui. He completely missed how Lao's gaze was sharpening. Lao Kui kept shouting, and in the next second... Luckily, Lao thought of him as a drunken fool and didn't take it too seriously, while our hero was too scared to fight. But he couldn't swallow his pride. The next day, Lao was summoned back by his father with an old body in tow. It was astonishing that Lao Kui was actually his uncle. He thought this was unrealistic, but finally Lao Kui got his revenge. Returning to the gang's lair, seeing Lao's many underlings, Lao Kui immediately adjusted his demeanor. After confirming the payment, he invited Lao to celebrate. Although Lao was reluctant, he went along. At the pub, after a few toasts, Lao Kui was feeling the boost kicking again. When he first saw Lao, he felt like he was looking at a dazzling beauty, and that awkward flattery left to ladies stunned. Lao was getting goosebumps from the flattery, and fortunately, a younger brother stepped in to drag Lao to the bathroom, but on the way he accidentally ran into his boss at customs, wondering why he always treated him like a stand-up routine. He raised a toast to his colleagues, but deliberately left out his boss, instead teasing him. At first, the boss was awkward, but when Lao Kui started talking about his hobbies, he couldn't resist giving him a slap, and they quickly began to brawl. However, Lao Kui wasn't worried at all because his buddies were right behind him, helping him swiftly knock down the boss. Over 20 years of cautious behavior quickly transformed into a headless tiger. Afterward, Lao Kui threw his suit on the ground. Patrons in the store were all wide-eyed, while Lao Kui's gaze began to reveal a hint of fierceness and shrewdness. Lao watched all this unfold. Lao Kui was at the clinic getting a cast, and the nurses were charming and lovely. In an instant, Lao Kui felt a mischievous thought rise. He walked out nonchalantly, but inside, he was plotting. As the nurse prepared to change, he swiftly locked the door, showing no gentlemanly behavior. He roughly threatened her to bend to his will. He thought that Lao Kui might be a softy, but had a clever mind. He considered that he could use a strategist. Lao Kui bluntly revealed his plan. As long as they disrupt the underworld with legal means, Lao Kui's 20 years of customs connections would ensure smooth coordination. Watching the spirited Lao Kui, Lao smiled. Indeed, he was a treasure. Thus, Lao Kui stepped into his absurd underworld life. As the gambling business thrived, Lao Kui's aspirations began to soar. One day, while relaxing in his own entertainment center, he bumped into a familiar face, the nightclub owner. Initially, the owner dismissed Lao Kui as just another clerk, but the scene that unfolded caught his eye. Lao Kui audaciously made passes, while the waiter seemed timid. The owner quickly realized that Lao Kui was no longer the same guy, so he switched his demeanor and pleaded for help. He had been swindled out of his investment, so he sought Lao Kui's intervention. Seeing how thriving the nighttime business was, Lao Kui couldn't help feeling excited. So he hurriedly reported to Lao, only to find out that the black boss was once Lao's underling. Lao clearly stated that it was right to intervene, as it was all about ethics. Instantly, Lau Kui had a light bulb moment and devised a clever plan. He sought out the burly Xiaomo for the charge, but Xiaomo seemed a bit hesitant. After words were exchanged, Xiaomo was left speechless. Guided by acquaintances, they entered the conference room as behind-the-scenes investors. An acquaintance introduced Xiaoli, the female manager, to Lau Kui, who eyed her appreciatively. Lau Kui's sleazy expression irritated Ban Hu and made the atmosphere awkward. Just as he was about to greet Xiaoli, he was met with a cold reception. Goodbye, new friends. And that brings us to the end of the show. Don't forget to subscribe.